What would you say if I told you if you had a couple $100 in your bank account, the last couple $100 in your bank account, and you could turn it into a multi-million-dollar a year business? Would you believe me? Would you think I'm nuts and crazy? My next guest believed all of that, and she turned her business into a multi-million-dollar year business. And my next guest is none other than Jessie Lee Ward. Many of you know her as Jessie Lee, or I'm Boss Lee, and we're going to sit down and talk to Jessie about her childhood, the violence she experienced in her childhood, moving to New York for college and working various jobs and getting a degree and learning about marketing and getting into that space, and then going to Maryland, getting an apartment and not really sure what she wanted to do in her life, and basically Googling home-based business, and she had roughly about $310 or something like that in her pocket. And a couple years later, she turns it into a multi-million-dollar a year business, and now she is the #1 network marketing female in the world. I'm super excited. She's helping other people become millionaires with her business, but it's really not all about that. It's about her attitude, her approach to life, and how she wants to help people, her no-nonsense approach, which is awesome. She is always on fire, high energy. I am super excited to interview her. So let's bring on Jessie Lee. It's time for I'm Boss Lee.
Our world is changing faster and faster. Humans are constantly on the go. Over 70% of people are not happy in some way. They're living in the shadows of fear, especially in their careers and life. Are we humans doomed? I don't think so. And that's where I come in. My name is Joseph Stanley Reichowski, otherwise known as Joe Woo. Each week, I seek to uncover what it takes to truly live your life to the fullest by finding out through interviewing people what were their failures and what did it take for them to reach success. Their stories are truly inspiring, and perhaps they'll inspire you to let go of your fear and live your career and life to the fullest.
All right, everybody. I have the great Jessie Lee Ward on here. I'm Boss Lee. Jessie, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on, Joe? I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to chat with you. And what's happening?
Me too.
Probably easier to say what's not happening. I feel like a lot of things are going on in my life, and I love what, it's the holidays, so you're running into people that you haven't seen in a while, and everyone's like, "What's new?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Where do I start with that?
I know.
So.
I know. And as we were talking before, I mean, I see you everywhere, and I love it. So it's amazing to see, your growth and transformation. And I've been watching like a lot of videos from years ago, and I'm like, wow, it's so inspiring to see the evolution and stuff. And I'm kind of going through that now. Like I'm looking at videos from me a couple of years ago. I'm like, wow, it's so neat to see that and see other people kind of go through it too. And it's so cool. And I have to pinch myself. Like, is this really happening?
I think it's really cool. I'm glad you're seeing it too. What I see a lot of people do is they don't stick to anything for long enough. So they never get the moment that you're having right now. Most people think that just because they found maybe an influencer recently or something like that, that it's like, oh, that person probably you're looking at, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 15 years, 10 years, 5 years at least of consistency, but people don't really ever show that. And so one of the things I like to show people really is that just consistent growth, or that consistent messaging, or the consistency of my posting or whatever, so I can actually watch and track that kind of progress. So,
right. Yeah. And that's a great start. I think you think that's like kind of the big problem right now, because as I'm coaching people too, I've been in so many networking groups and things like that. And everybody's like, how did you get so good at video? I'm like, well, thanks for that. I don't think I'm like great. I'm like, I think I'm decent at it, but like what'd you do? And I'm like, look at my videos from like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Like they're cringeworthy. And it's like, but you have to start somewhere, So do you see that as a big problem? Like you said, people just they do it for a little bit and boom, they just stop, and then they're on to the next thing.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But that's in everything. That's like people will try a diet for a week, and then when they don't lose 80 pounds, it didn't work. or a supplement or any of these things. It's the same in business. People want this instant success. I used to do this training, and my dad actually reminded me of it last week. He's like, do it again. It's so good. He's like, I found your YouTube, he's like, my dad's my biggest fan, right? Like, no matter what anyone says, Dad will always be my biggest fan. But it's this video where I take an actual bag of popcorn, the physical bag of popcorn, and I put it in the microwave. And so it's a super visual training. I'll do it again, because now that I'm saying it, and once you put the podcast, everyone's gonna be like, show me the popcorn training. Right. But the concept of it is, a lot of people are running their businesses and their lives like that bag of popcorn, where if they put the bag of popcorn in the microwave, they set the popcorn timer, like we all have microwaves that have popcorn timers now. You set it on there, and then you're consistent for 5 seconds, and then you open up the microwave, which most people do in their business. They'll work their business for 5 days straight, right? They expect the bag of popcorn to be popped. They expect the success. But instead, what happens is you've completely stopped the momentum, because, oh, it's the holidays. Oh, my best friend's wedding. Oh, no, you don't understand what it's like. My husband says I work too hard. Oh, like, there's always an excuse. And so it ends up being this like 20-minute training where 30 seconds later I open it, and you think it's going to be consistent. And oh gosh, but then and the point of the training, obviously, I'm just answering what you mentioned. I know there's some people who are super visual, is that bag of popcorn could be in that microwave for 100 years. But if you keep opening and closing and opening and closing and opening and closing and opening and closing, or starting and stopping your business, starting and stopping your business, starting or stopping your business with the videos or with the reels, with the TikToks or with the posts or with whatever, like, you never gain the traction, you never gain the momentum, you never have the business that you quite frankly deserve. So
that's a great way of looking at it. Wow. I'm never going to look at popcorn, because I do that when we have movie night, and I'm like thinking, I'm looking at my microwave now from here. I'm like, I'm never going to look at it the same, but that's a great visual. I mean, it's like my kids with the dryer. It's like when they put their clothes in, they keep opening. I'm like, no, it's not done yet. Look at the timer. You got to wait. You got to let it go. And I see it a lot too. Like, I do a lot of Facebook ad training, and people are like, oh, I did it for 2 weeks and I got nothing. I'm like, yeah, I've been doing it for like 3 or 4 years. And I tell them that. I'm like, it's a long game. You have to. If you love it, you keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. And I do love it. I love the game. I love the challenge, quite frankly. I love when people say I can't do it. I'm addicted to that, just proving people wrong sort of thing. So it's okay. You don't have to believe in me. I never stop believing in me, but 2 weeks of a course on how to run Facebook ads. Yeah. Good luck with that.
I know. Right. I'm like, yeah, you got nothing. So it's like I told you, and it's crazy, like how people think. And then same with TikTok. I'm like, guys, I've been doing TikTok since it was Musically. And I'm like, I haven't fully gone up there, but I'm like, I've been doing it consistently, and it takes time. And, in the last year, that consistency even more has grown. I'm like, wow, I'm starting to see it. I'm like, this is good. This is what it is. And now the motivation's like even more to get it better, to say, look, this is what I've done, and help you out. Yeah. How do you keep your energy so high? It's something like, when I came across you, gosh, it's probably been over a year, and I wish I would have known you a long time ago, because I just love your journey. I love your story, but I see everything, and I have high energy too, but like, what's your specialty to keep that energy just going? Because you've got to motivate people, you got to inspire people and help people. What do you do to keep that going?
First of all, thanks. Appreciate it. So my energy, I will say, first of all, I think I can't lie to you. I think there's definitely some God-given gift in there, because I'm one of those people where even when I'm exhausted, or people are sucking my energy, or I'm like, wow, I don't know if I can push, there's something that just clicks on in me and I can just go.
Right.
And so that I can't sell you on, I can't coach you on, but I can tell you there are a couple things, like I'm somebody who's super consistent with a few things that definitely give me energy, gives me, kind of the upper leg, if you will. So I was drinking when you just did it, but I always am a hydrated person. Yeah. And so I make a joke about it, but this is true. I really feel like I think about people's brains, and I'm like, I think you're dehydrated, I think your brain's not really working. I think it's like a little raisin, it just needs more water. And then you just need to drink it up so it's like a big juicy grape. So I don't know. Again, I'm just visual.
Wow, that's really cool. I never thought.
But most of the time, you're literally dehydrated. You're like, electrolytes are low, and so you're exhausted. So people can make easy choices to drink more and then get more minerals, and they'll feel better. I am big on tracking my sleep, so I have worn an Aura ring. People are like, "Is that your wedding ring?" I'm like, "Oh, it's wrong hand," But I've worn an Aura for maybe 4 years now. So I've tracked my sleep. I know what my deep sleep is. I pay attention to different things. And I'm always, people are like, she must not sleep. No, I get 7 hours a night and it's got to be good. So this is going to sound crazy. I don't know if you ever track sleep, but like I get 3.5 hours of deep sleep a night, which most people get like an hour.
Damn.
And so you got to do little things for it. Like you got to pay attention to magnesium levels. You got to pay attention to vitamin D levels. You got to pay attention to the temperature of your room. You got to pay attention to what time you eat your last meal. It matters because digestion takes up a ton of energy. Like there's all these little silly hacks or whatever. And then, I do sell ketones, so I can't lie. I've got killer consistent energy. I feel bad for people that are entrepreneurs that don't drink them because I don't drink them for fat loss. I drink those suckers because my brain's like, zing.
Yeah. And I'm like the water consistently. It's like, all right, I kind of feel that little zap energy. I'm like, all right, let me get some water. Let me go for a walk. Let me do something. Just get up out of the seat and go, especially if I'm doing webinars, whatever like this, just get up and go. And that's it. But I'm
glad you said that too. Like more people listening, move your body.
Yeah.
I didn't even think to mention it, but there's not a day I don't. Now, look, it doesn't have to be a big, crazy workout. So whenever I say this, people are like, oh my God. Like, I'm not telling you be like me and be in the gym and lift weights and do whatever. I'm not telling you do Pilates, which I certainly don't do. I'm telling you, give yourself a chance. My rule of thumb is sweat every day. So that could be instead of a 15, 20, 30, 40-minute dog walk, maybe I got to like make Kumba, move it, for an hour if we're sweating or something. But maybe it is the gym, or maybe it's just answering, messages or whatever on a treadmill or whatever, but just move your body. There's not a day that goes by I don't move my body. Your body you'll create more and more energy as you start doing things that give your body energy. And then maybe my most recent thing, since you found me only a year ago, is, I did do these really extensive blood tests. People are always asking me which ones. I don't know. Okay. I'm not the doctor. Find yourself your own holistic doctor.
Right.
I actually got retested because I do it every 3 months. So you can see all my little vein markers. They had to stab me 3 times yesterday. But anyway, so I end up giving, the first one was 18 vials of blood. Then it's, 9, then it's 6. But at any rate, I know exactly what not only inflames me physically, but you also have the inflammation inside your body then too, right? So you feel more sluggish. And so I pulled all the stuff out of my diet that makes me feel like a puffer fish, and I look good too. So it's worked out well.
Yeah, same here. That's kind of what I'm doing like the last year and a half or so, is just all the junk stuff. Cause it's so easy, your travel's like, all right, and get a bag of chips and you just go grab a burger. It's so easy and it's great. I'm like, man, I love like some of those fries, but then I'm like, I just kind of changed my mentality. I'm like, that's not going to help me get the energy. It's not going to help me be at my very best for people. And it's like, that's the shift. I'm like, wow, it's so weird. And like, now I drive by, I'm like, nope, I get something healthy. So
yeah, good on you. Love that.
Good stuff. So let's talk about, early on, growing up. I know, I saw some stories and things and some other shows where, you talked about how you had a really tough child. And I'm sorry to hear that. And there was some violence.
Okay.
What kind of happened? And were you okay with talking about that? And just kind of walk me through, and how did that really shape you to be the person you are today?
So it's interesting timing we do this podcast and I talk to you about this because I'll say a couple of things. It's interesting because I hired Ed Milet as my coach for 2023.
Love that.
A cool $175,000 up front. So, woo!
Right.
You get what you pay for. People that want these cheap coaches, they're cheap because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Okay.
Right.
I should raise my prices tremendously. We'll get there. But anyhow.
Wow.
So I spent this day with him, and the one thing I will tell you is that I would argue that if you talk to nearly every single top entrepreneur or just top business person or whatever, or somebody you really look up to, they have a really weird story. They've got some trauma with a capital T in their past.
Yeah.
And it was this first day with Ed was what we did, 2 days ago or something like that. And people were kind of going around the room and we were, kind of sharing stories and stuff like this. And it was like one after another of, like really bad this or really bad that, or abuse here or whatever, raised by grandparents there. It was like, there were like, it was just the common thread. So I say that to people not to be like, oh, you just got to be screwed up to be successful. No, I say it because, I think more people than not use that as a crutch unintentionally to say, that's why I'm not successful. I'm not successful because you don't know what it's like to have domestic violence. You don't know what it's like to have, a family that doesn't love you. You don't know what it's like to not be raised by your parents. You don't know what it's like to be an orphan. You don't know what it's like to, list whatever the excuses you keep saying in your head. But really the most successful people I do find consistently are the people who made the choice in that moment to say, yes, all of this factually, happened to me, but I'm not going to choose the victim side of this, which is what most of society does. I'm going to choose to use that as my power and turn victorious towards it. And so I think there's a lot of power in that, but I say that to say there was a lot of crazy stuff in my life, domestic violence being just one of the million things that happened. And it wasn't just my father. It ended up being my stepdad, who was 20 times worse, if not more than my dad. My stepdad was awful, split my brother's head wide open, gushing out blood. I mean, it was like my childhood was a movie in many ways. And so I don't say that to make anybody feel bad for me. I say that because like I said, I decided to overcome to become. I think that's a very obvious message in that. And the second thing is I think you get to become somebody people can look up to. That can be a choice. And I've made that choice. The third thing I will say, which I've never said before, which is why I said this is going to, you got me at a good time.
Love it.
But it's interesting because this is from Ed. And so Ed, a lot of things. So Ed, I found out, is talking behind my back. Okay, so we need to have a conversation. So, so he said it to me, but he said it in the room with, just 10 people. And then yesterday was another day of, I think entrepreneurs they spent $20,000 just for the day, the one-on-one set up your year for 2023 with Ed. And then he only chose to coach one-on-one people like myself. He only chose 10 of us. But I got some messages yesterday because Ed told me in person, he said, I'm going to make you the most influential person on earth. And I was like, oh my God.
Crap.
But then I find out Ed be talking about me because I got some messages from some people the next day who are like, y'all, he apparently told them, you have to follow Jessie Lee. She's going to become the next big influencer. She's going to be the most powerful woman in the world. And I was like,
wow.
But in my day with him, he was talking about, from the outside, Jessie Lee, you literally do have it all. You're the girl who built the dream life. You're the girl with the dream businesses. You're the girl that everyone's like, let me have her be my business coach. She understands business. She really did it. She's really created all this success. She's really created countless millionaires. She's done all of it. He's like, and it's true. You travel the world. You do all. And then he was like, but your childhood, we've got to work this year on your inner game, which I cried the whole time he's coaching me, like, for God's sake, I'm this big, mush ball, I'm super emotional all the time.
Love it.
And he just said, and this is true. And he really got me, he coached me through it in this moment. Like I said, I haven't shared this publicly at all, but share this with you. So he just basically said, what you've been taught is that you have to be this massive winner. Like, you can't be second place. You can't be third place. You can't be anything and anything. You have to be number one, because it was the only way that you got any love from your childhood. So example, I don't know if this will resonate. I know, Ed was punching me in the throat with that. I don't know who needs to hear that. I was like, wow. But as an example, when you're not wanted really by your parents, or I've sent my dad to jail for domestic violence. So I'm really talking about my mom right now. No attention. I'm never good enough. My older brother's better, because he's the oldest, it's like, there's all this drama or whatever. The only way I could get attention was if I had straight A's, but I wasn't a good student. And I think a lot of, I'm clearly intelligent, but I was never a good student because I'm ADHD. I was all over the place. There were no brain supplements to focus you. Clearly I have a lot of focus now, right? I didn't have any of these things. And so I struggled so much in school, constantly made fun of because I was the one who was moving all the time. If you ever see a little kid with ADHD and they're just this all the time, and the teachers are like, stop shaking. You're like, I can't, they give you a pen, that was me awful my entire child. I was always moving my toes or whatever. And so anyway, I was bad in school, but I knew I had to get straight A's because I would have 5 seconds of, oh, we're so proud of you, Jessie Lee.
We love you. Yeah. Oh
no, not I love you. Come on, you're being too generous. It was like, there we go. She's got her straight A's. So then I had to be the best in everything just for that second of attention, because I never got attention because I grew up in such a tumultuous childhood. Wow. It's like crazy home. You would only get attention if you were the star of something. So I was number one at Girl Scout cookie sales. I had to be number one at selling the stupid wrapping paper. I was number one. I was, first chair clarinetist. I had to be in the first soprano because, oh my God, you had to be the best. Yeah, I had to go to church 6 days a week because, one's not enough. I had to overachieve. And so, wow, I know I'm really dragging on this answer, but
no, this is great.
Touching some people. That's why I have to win at everything. And so that I get to work through this year with Ed, but I just wish more, but I look at it as such a strength, because if I can start channeling more of the receiving of love, he said, one of my greatest strengths is I have a very powerful ability to make people feel love from me, but I really, I do not feel love. There are only and I said this on a training yesterday, actually, because it's true. There's only ever been 5 people that I'm like, yeah, I know they love me. Wow. 5 of the 2,000 people a day that say, I love you, Jessie Lee. I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
You know? Or the, you know, what, anyway, this is getting way too deep, too fast. Yeah, but my point being,
I love this though. I love this.
My point being, it's just like, I think all of that set me up to be this massive winner. I think all of these struggles turned me into this super powerhouse. I think all of the turmoils and struggles and hardships that whatever you went through, Joe, or whatever anybody listening to this went through, I think we can choose to use that as almost this body of armor that we can wear, and then we can go forward and we can change the world with it. But that's what domestic violence in the household taught me.
Wow. Well, thank you for being so vulnerable on that. That's something. I mean, I'm just riveted just listening to that, like just how you did that. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I coach people and I see so many people that are just, I'm like, I just, you give them all these tools and then they go back in that same pattern and it's the victim constantly. And there's only so much we can do to try to help the people. They got to take that step and they're just not ready. And I just wish people do that because it's a gift. All that stuff that they've been through is a gift to use to help people.
Well, the cool thing is if you've been through that,
and
you choose to overcome that, whatever that is not the message about that is that thing, right? You are therefore uniquely qualified to help other people go through it.
Right.
So whatever your trauma is, whatever your hardships are, you're uniquely called, not me.
Right.
So by you wallowing in it and choosing to be that victim, you can't help all the other people. So you have to grow through those moments and see them as that truly happened for me. So you can reach back down and pull people up. I think one of the reasons I'm such a powerful coach, top recruiter, this huge education program is because when you talk to me with your struggles, your hardships, name it, I can respond to you so powerfully because it's like, yeah, I've been there. Like, hold on, come here, talk to me about it. Been there. I can lift you up. I can help you through it. You're truly not alone. And if you choose to sit in it and dwell in it and say, no, you don't get it, I'm this victim, then you don't get to reach down and help anybody.
Right. Yep. Take your gifts to the grave, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Take your gifts to the grave. I like that.
Wow. So I know after your childhood, you went to New York for a little while too. And that's obviously, it's an amazing, amazing city. And you did so many things. What did you learn out of New York? Just handling all those jobs. I think you're a waitress at one point too, I think I read somewhere and all that.
Wow. Oh, what did I learn from New York? I learned that you should not go to New York City unless you are wealthy. You shouldn't live there.
Yeah.
No, so I went to college in New York City, and I will tell you, that city taught me hustle. Okay, that city taught me speed. That city taught me that you will get absolutely run over in this life if you keep moving. And so there's a lot of little tiny lessons inside of that. Like you gotta learn, you gotta go faster, you gotta move out of the way. There are different routes you can get places. Not everybody's the same. I learned that people are different, but people are also all the same. I learned the love of international business and international people there, which I know I have one of the largest international businesses for sure in network marketing. And I looked at my education platform. We did a heat map. I think we put it up yesterday, and I'm literally on every continent. I have a coaching client, with the exception of Antarctica. So if you are Antarctican, I don't know, is that what it's called? Listen, like I need you. I need to check you off. So if you're listening to this podcast, I'm looking for you, Antarctica. No, but in all seriousness, there's lessons inside of everything in your life, and so I moved there. I saw the prices it costs to live there. And I said, okay, how can I be smart about my schedule? And so instead of dragging it out like so many people would, because college is much easier than high school. I don't think anybody realizes this until they get to college, because you're going to class so much more or less. You can actually create and mesh your own schedule. So I made my schedule. Some semesters it would just be like really heavy Monday, Wednesday, and that was it. Just like top to bottom. Then I'm off. That's what I did. Thursday, Friday. Yeah. Or I would do it where now I was a media major, so marketing communications were my 2 degrees, and then women's studies and political science were my minors. Like I went crazy because I thought I'd be, in corporate and I would need all these leg ups, which I ended up not needing, but that's neither here nor there. But I had all this whatever. But so because of the media major, there were some semesters I would just move the entire classes until after 6 p.m. So it was like every day of the week, but it was 6 to 9. So I had that available too, but I was smart about it then. So
Right.
I was able to set up a schedule where I could hustle. I had 3 jobs at the same time. So it was the waitress in Times Square, it was the selling the massage chairs on Fifth Avenue, and I was a nanny out in Forest Hills,
Oh,
Queens.
wow.
So I had 3 at the same time, plus the full-time schedule, but I made my schedule make sense where it was no problem. It was a learning lesson of, wow, people take time so for granted. Like I learned that very, very, very young was people take time for granted. Why are people complaining about college? Well,
Right.
most people complain about college because they're drunk every night. I wasn't drinking.
Right.
Right. I was crushing it. And so there was that. I learned probably a bit, and this is kind of from college, but I learned the importance of relationships with people that are much further along than you. I never wanted to socialize with the people I really went in the classes with, except for the star performers, of course. I never got down in the mud with the people who were negative. I didn't want to hang out with, the people who were small-minded, just wanted to get out of school, unless they wanted to get out of school to move to a career. I always wanted to be around people who had vision. But really, I don't know if you heard, like, New York will teach you things.
Oh,
New York taught me to get creative. New York taught me to, you don't always have to take the same route. I'm thinking subway in my head right now.
Oh, me
but
too.
also,
I rode the subway there. Oh,
yeah, like if a street's closed, you take a different street, take a different avenue, you can get somewhere. And that's a really good lesson for life for people. The destination should stay the same. You want this goal, you want this lifestyle, you want to win here, you want to win there. Great. Keep that the same, but keep in mind there's different routes to get there. Some people think the only way to get to Brooklyn is the L train? It's not the only way to get to Brooklyn. Like you can get to Brooklyn on 10 different trains. You just have to take a different route. You're still going to get to the end destination.
Exactly.
So, that's an interesting lesson. I learned, you learn who your real friends are. You learn really fast communication skills. There's so many lessons, but everything in my life, not just New York, I look at it like, what's the lesson in this?
Yeah.
Ask yourself, okay, all this is happening. What's the lesson in this?
I love that.
And I've had so many moments like that where I'll stop, I'll reflect, and I'll say, okay, that kind of sucks, but there's a lesson in it. Let me find it.
And it's amazing when you get to that point where like there's a lesson there. You're like, yeah, it's like I had a situation where I was riding the subway and I had to go uptown. And I was late for a meeting and I was hosting the meeting. What they did, and this was actually my first day there. I was working for a firm, but it was actually out of Philly, but I was in the New York office. First day I was there, I was 5 minutes late. They took my laptop and everything sitting on the chair and table outside the conference room. And I was like, whoa. I literally wanted to cry and the door was locked. I was like, and they're just like, you're late. And I'm like, what? And it was like one of these lessons, like, wow. And I just was like, okay, next time, you know what? I'm there a half hour early, did everything and was never, ever late again. And it just taught me so much. And even on a subway, you get eaten up. People push you. And like you said, you learn to take different routes, but you get there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's something. So how did you get into network marketing? This is what I always wanted to know. Like, I know you've done a lot with Eric and stuff like that. And I love it. I love Eric's work. It's absolutely amazing. So what was that road like just getting into network marketing?
It was accidental is probably the best way to say it. I grew up in Maryland. So in Maryland, like I live in Texas now. People ask me all the time, why do you live in Texas? I'm like, because you can be an entrepreneur in Texas and damn, are you celebrated?
Yes.
Okay. There is no, you do what? Like, don't you need a real job? Where are your benefits? I've never been asked where my benefits package is since moving to Texas. Okay. But in Maryland, it was like, you're either government related, you're military related, or you're science related. Those are the three
that is so true
that are so celebrated on the East Coast. It's like, oh, you do what? And I was always a little flipping weirdo. Let's be real about it. My childhood set me up for that. Right. And I think I got the DNA for that. Right. So I always had this thing that was different about me. And I always wanted to stand out in my own way, but I knew it wasn't going to happen in Maryland because I just wasn't a celebrated personality there.
Right.
And so, but I needed money. So after college, God works in mysterious ways, and thank God this happened in its own way. But I was really set up to walk right into a marketing or PR firm right out of college. So I made really good friends with my professors. I'm still friends actually with several of the professors, believe it or not.
Wow.
So, and it's cool because I got an email probably 6 or 7 years after graduation. And one of my professors said, hey, Jessie Lee, like you're still on my mind all the time. I know you, I knew you were going to do big things. Can you update me on what you're doing? And it's really cool, that these people saw greatness in me. But anyway, so I had to turn down job offers in the city, which was, I thought my dream job, public relations firm in New York City, marketing, advertising in New York City. It doesn't get better better than that, right?
Yeah.
And then my grandparents who raised me, their health was failing, and they had a house in West Virginia at the time, but really close to the Maryland border. And so right after college graduation, it just became, obvious I was going to have to go back to Maryland. I couldn't stay in the city. I couldn't take my dream job. I had to go back to Maryland. And so went to Maryland and didn't know what to do entrepreneurial wise. I graduated 2010. So the economy was still doing that weird stuff from 2008, 2009, especially East Coast, right? Really affected on the East Coast. I guess all through the country. I shouldn't really speak for the whole country, but definitely affected on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And nobody was really hiring. Okay. I still remember some of these job descriptions. It was like 6 years experience, like entry level. I'm like, what are we talking about? Like, I just graduated college. This is like an assistant job. I need six. I don't, like how was I supposed to intern when I had 3 jobs? And, it was so frustrating. So I ended up getting a job in this pathology lab, which I mean, when I say I hated it, it was like, you complimented me on my energy. Thank you. I did not have energy in this lab, you're surrounded by death. Literally. It's a bunch of dead animals that you're doing tests and stuff on. But like the people, no one was happy. These people had no energy, no vibrance about themselves. No, like there was nothing going on with these people, right? They walk to work like,
I've been there, done it. I've seen it in Maryland to DC. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I mean, it was awful.
Zombies.
Sad people. And so I, walked and I hated it every day. I felt like a little bit of my soul was just getting sucked every day. I napped every day at lunch on my lunch break instead of eating because I was like, these people, they're sucking my energy. I really hated it. But I had a good job, but a good job when you're used to being this hustler in New York City, I was making $27,000 a year after taxes or something. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that back then. Think about that now. You are literally in a poorhouse if you're making 27 grand a year. But even back then, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I was broke. Yeah. So anyway, I get this job, hate it, and then my rent gets increased by $300. And so I'm like, oh no. And I already 27 grand a year, poor house. Already struggling, and then the struggles just become bigger. I'm like, I can't come up with an extra $300 a month. This isn't possible. They said, well, maybe you should start one of these at-home businesses. I'm like, ew, what? So I Googled at-home businesses that make the most money, literally joined the first thing I saw. And here's something about me, and I think about really successful people, is that we are executors.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I say I'm going to do something, it's not like, let me think about it. I don't know. I mean, okay, I'm going to buy the kit for it and then I'll think about it. I'll get started once I know everything. Oh, no. Executors, winners, successful people. They're the people that go, yes, we're going to do it. Whatever. I don't know how. Don't really care how. I already made a decision. I got to win. So it was like, I didn't know how. I didn't have any skill sets. I never really sold anything except for my waitressing history and then the massage chairs on Fifth Avenue. I was not a salesperson. Okay. I was not polished by any stretch of the imagination, but I had made a decision that I was going to pay this rent and not be homeless. So then it just became, well, I better learn, I better grow, I better figure it out. I don't know how to sell. I don't know how to recruit. I don't know how to do any of this. But I mean, I exploded. I ended up being able to leave. I did get fired actually for having poor work ethic. Let's have a laugh about that. Jessie Lee got fired for having poor work ethic. Okay. Wow. But I really did have poor work ethic towards working for somebody else, towards my own dreams. No problem. I'll outwork everybody, but working towards building your dreams, not interested.
That's it.
But anyway, so it started with direct sales. It started with selling stuff in people's houses. And then in 2015, after I was making, I don't know, a little less than $200,000 a year at 25 years old, which is not bad. No. But it was not great. I found network marketing, and the rest was kind of history. I became super addicted to it. I felt almost like I was meant to do that because I've always felt like I can connect with people in their pain, and I can connect with people in whatever they need to be moved forward in. And I just loved a model where you would be celebrated for doing the work, not celebrated because of somebody's personality. I wasn't going to be celebrated because somebody else wanted it to give somebody else a promotion. And I don't really talk about this much, but when I worked in that lab, there was somebody with the exact same job as me, a research assistant. Oh, wow. He is a man. He was hired a week and a half before me. He was making $10,000 more a year. And I remember saying, like, why? And the guy's like, well, men, and the boss, he literally said, he's like, well, men tend to be better at this. I'm like, what? So I loved network marketing because from day one, it was an even playing field. So you're either going to be good at it because you're a good business owner, or you're going to suck at it because you just suck at it. But there's no it's because you're a woman. There's no, oh, it's because you have brown hair, you have blonde hair, you have red hair, you have purple hair. There's no, oh, it's because you're Jewish. Oh, it's because you're Christian. Oh, it's because you're Muslim. Oh, it's because you're from this country. Oh, no, you're not successful. There's none of that.
Nothing.
The playing field is super even. And so I went, okay, this I can get down with. I can get down with this. And so it was almost like I immediately felt this level of freedom that I had never felt before. And maybe that's entrepreneurship in general, but I chose the network marketing to dip my toe in because I didn't have $100,000 to open a franchise. I didn't have $50,000 to open a franchise. I didn't have any of this. And there was no gig economy. There was no Uber. There was no DoorDash. Nothing. There was no Grubhub. There was no, there was none of this stuff. So
nothing.
Like my only option, and thank God, because it turned into world domination.
Yeah. I love that journey. It's absolutely amazing to see you at the top there of it. It's just, it's so inspiring just to see it, because it's like to see that growth from just getting into it. Like you said, it's like what we do as entrepreneurs, we'll figure it out. We do it. And that's going to take a long while to get there, because I was always like, I got to do the perfect video. I got to do this. And I don't like it. And I started doing videos for a while, and it was like, I stopped. I'm like, I don't like this. I was like, no, you just got to do it and I'll figure it out. I'll get the equipment as I grow. And that's what I did. And I keep getting things and getting better and better at it. And that's how you do it as an entrepreneur. You just go. It doesn't have to be perfect. You start and you improve it and figure it out. And look where you are now.
What you just said is really important, though, because the perfectionism is what's killing people.
Yeah.
It's killing people that could be great at something like this. And that's in everything. That's not just video. I think video is one of those things for sure that people just put a big halt. It's like they put the kibosh on it before it ever gets good. It's like, guys, you're going to be so bad before you're good at anything. And I wish more people understood that's just the way it works. It's the repetition that makes you good at it. And the fancy stuff, some people don't get started because they think they need to have a perfect camera, or they need to have a great setup or perfect lighting or whatever. I mean, I'm facing one light that I think cost me $60 on Amazon or something like that. My background is a disaster because we just moved into the penthouse. These designers I hired, I wish I could fire them, but I already gave them way too much money. My microphone is like, I don't know what this cost, maybe $100 or something like that.
So this was like $99, my thing. Yeah.
And my camera is not, like, literally, I would show you, but it's sitting on a tripod.
Right.
Is a pretty nice camera. Is not even what I'm using because somebody stole, I know who it is, Sasha Braun. But Sasha stole my camera cord and threw it to Switzerland. He thinks I don't know. It randomly, went missing as soon as Sasha came to the house, whatever. But I'm not even using my fancy camera. I'm using a $149 Logitech webcam right now.
That's exactly what I have. I have a $149 Logitech webcam, and people are funny. Like, they see these podcasts and I do the video presentation. So this is what I do. And like, that's it. I'm like, I got a tripod. I got my laptop. I got 2 barn door studio lights. I got this mic and things, and I have a wireless mic when I do my little videos and stuff. And I said, this is all less than $500. And they're like, what? And I know these one guys went out and tried to start this whole thing. They wanted to be like the Nelk Boys, really cool people. And they got all these cameras, the setup and everything. It was like $4 or $5 grand. I'm like, what are you doing? And it's not taking off. And they're trying to be so perfect. I'm like, just get to the story, get to you and do you. Don't be perfect. Just go and it'll happen.
A perfect example of this. Because people do that a lot. They'll spend all this money on something, then they do nothing, which again goes back to procrastination, which needs to stop, and the perfection stop. But so my podcast, the only reason I haven't been uploading podcasts every day like I usually do is I'm transcribing all of them for the hard of hearing. So so we're trying to get all of that done before I upload another one. But screw it, I'm going to upload one today.
There you go. Do it.
I don't even care. I'm just going to do it, and then we'll go back in time and we'll put the transcription on that too. But at any rate, my point being, I bought, I don't know, like $350, nothing crazy, $350, maybe $400 of, the fancy podcasting stuff, because all my friends were like, this is the minimum thing you need. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is 5 years ago, I do this. And I could show you it sitting in my closet right there. I literally have never opened the headphones. I never opened that microphone, and I never opened the mixing board. So maybe it's more than that. I still to this day record podcasts on my telephone, upload it to Anchor. And I still to this day have one of the top entrepreneurial podcasts in the world. Just do it. Just upload content. It's crazy. You need a cell phone.
That's it. Right. That's all it is. That's it. Yeah.
Don't write down the webcam. I said, just use your cell phone. You're welcome.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like, I was at a meeting last week and everybody's like, what kind of camera, man? What the SLR? I said, this. And they're like, I'm like, iPhone 13. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's just so easy. I put it on the tripod. I have a wireless mic, $99, hook it in, boom. And they're like, how did you do that? I'm like, I just Googled it and researched it. I'm like, let me get something and then I'll figure it out later. And I don't want to spend $500 on equipment that I might not even use. And I got so much stuff that I bought in the past. I'm like, I don't even use half of it.
Dollar equipment is confusing. And
Yeah.
do I look like an audio engineer? No.
Right.
So if I start having to, stick in a bunch of cords into special hole, oh my, just forget about it.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen because I'm not going to be able to find the hole. But I'm like, I hardly can find cell phone chargers, like,
yeah.
Come on, man. Like, all this technology, like someone, do you have the seat? I'm like, what is this? I don't know what you're asking for. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know what I have. Do I need a converter? What kind of Cadillac converter?
Yeah, exactly. A little like H adapter. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, I have no idea. Just give it to me and I'll get it. It's crazy. I don't
know what you just said. So yes.
Yeah, I don't either. I think I just made it up. There's some kind of adapter out there. So I definitely want to talk because, network marketing for me, I always had this like myth in the beginning, like years ago. I was like, oh, it's like this pyramid thing. And I hear so many people around me talk about that. How do you dispel the myth of that it's a bad thing? Because I think it's great, but so many people they shit on it really, and I can't stand that. There's so much good to it.
I do know.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I think there's some stuff in there. I think the first thing maybe is people shit on stuff they don't understand.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to look up, it's crazy because I try to go back to Jessie Lee 12 years ago and I did Google this stuff. Like I remember typing in a company name and reading like a scam blog. It was a blog back then because I'm aging myself, right? And I was like, ooh, this is a scam, right? And in my mind, I kind of went, well, I need $300. So if I can get to that top 1% and make $300, because I had no idea what the top 1% meant, I just thought to myself, whatever, I can figure that out. So I just think I didn't understand it, just like they don't understand it. Yeah. I will also say there are parts of network marketing, especially if you go back to like 1970s, 1980s, that kind of stopped. It was a profession where it was you recruit people into it and then you just throw them to the wolves,
Right.
The already rich would prosper and then you would just recruit. There were no trainings. There was no mentorship. Like that was a foreign concept. You would go to these big events and it was like, woo, rah, rah,
right.
They really were these things. And maybe I'm speaking for myself right now, but I'm a very tactical trainer. I know that. Right. And so when you come on a call of mine and, obviously you mentioned, I'm one of your students or, you're one of my students, like I'm going to teach you how to sell. I'm going to teach you how to market. I'm going to teach you how to brand. I'm going to teach you how to sell. I'm going to teach you how to do everything. I'm going to teach you how to scale a business. I'm going to teach you how to do business. But network marketing in and of itself is for sure one of the most intelligent business models I've ever seen. It allowed a broke, not like broken, but because I don't think humans are broken, by the way. I think maybe sometimes we're a little bent, but we're not broken.
Yeah.
A very financially broke 22-year-old girl to come in for $310, and I've turned $310 into lifetime commissions are just shy of $20 million or something.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So my current company, 16 million, not an income claim because I'm a freaking monster, but 16 million in 5 years. It's like for a $310 investment, that's a little bit nuts to think about. Now, here's the thing, though. I was always committed to running this like a business. Right. So for me, I literally have a staff like COO, like executive assistant, like personal assistant. Like I have people hired that help me run the actual business. There's training calls, there's training schedules, there's systems, there's camps that we put together. There's education programs inside of it. I literally founded and created a software company I own to create a system and process that puts it's the funnel, right? Yeah. It's a funnel people in that helps the teammates on our team. So their focus is content creation. So then I train on marketing, branding, content creation, sales, right? It funnels people through. Like I'm treating it like a business.
Yeah,
so
right.
If you're a business person, it makes sense. If you're a dodo bird and you don't understand, you know what? Stay out of my profession and let me be a network marketer. You think that think that I'm talking about the Egyptians and the pyramids in Giza. Like, I don't care what you think, but I don't fight with people. Some people like to make the anti MLM content. They want to talk about how evil the anti people are. I'm like, all you really need to do, if you really want to dive down the rabbit hole, is go look at those people. Do you mentally want to be like them when they brag about, I slept until noon because I have chronic depression, anxiety, this, I have this mental problem, this, like, and I love that. I have so much compassion for that. You need help. You don't need to be making YouTube videos about it.
Exactly.
Do you want to physically be like them? I don't think you do.
No,
you know, they
exactly.
look like they're ill. Their skin looks like, oh my gosh, you know, or their body looks like it needs help. They look like the Raisin Brains. I don't, you know what I mean? Like they need
no, absolutely. Yeah.
Like their hair has no shine to it, or they have no hair. You know, it's like, I don't want to physically look like you. Financially, ask yourself, are you taking advice from somebody that you're like, financially, I would, oh my God. Like, take financial advice from somebody who is in a financial pit, has a lien on their house. You can look all this up on public record, you know, who is living off of their partner. There's poor partners. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Who have to hold these women up. I don't even understand. Right. Like, wow. Like, I just want, go down the list. The emotional intelligence. Do you really want to fight with these people? Do you really want to fight with them on anything? No. So block, bless, release. Like there are millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people, millions of them who see the good in network marketing.
Absolutely.
Talk to them. My message is for them. My business content is for them. My education is for them. My platform is for them. You want to learn how to brand, market, sell, teach, train, scale, build culture, whatever, then follow me. You want to be miserable, upset, hate yourself, hate your life, complain all the time, make negative videos, watch people you don't like all day long as a full-time job. Go follow them.
Go do it. Right.
Desire to speak to those people. I'm speaking to the billions of positive people on planet Earth and the multi-millions who are looking for a business opportunity with a coach who knows what the hell she's talking about. And that would be.
That's it. I know. And you hit the nail on the head with that. Cause like the last 2 years as I've, you know, kind of ascended, I've had to cut so much of that negativity out. And it was hard because I'm like, man, like some of these people are like really good friends. And I'm like, this is nuts. And I'm like, but like, you're going down this negative rabbit hole all day long. It's like, we go out to dinner. It's like, we're at a meeting. It's negative. And I'm like, it just hit me. I was like, ew, I'm just so turned off by it. Like, I want to help you, but you got to help yourself first. You know, you got to be the one to stand up and do it. And I'm like, I can't be around that anymore. And it's like, I'm like, I'm done. And it's like, I mean, my inner circle is so small now. It's amazing. You know what?
It should be.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want to challenge people on this because something that freaks me out, and this has nothing to do with network marketing or business.
I love this stuff.
What freaks me out is like photos of people's weddings where their bridesmaids and groomsmen are like 15 on each side. I'm like, 30 people know all your secrets? Oh, hell. You know, like, no. At most, I got 3. You know what I mean? Like, we're at 3 over here.
3 here. Yeah.
And I think something more people need to know, because I think that a lot of people who listen, we hold ourselves back sometimes because we're worried about what the success is going to look like.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be lonely at the top. No, the hell it is not. It is going to be full of positive people. It is going to be full of educated people. It is going to be full of people who are motivational, inspirational, educated. It's going to be full of people who are pushing you to a better version of yourself. It's going to be full of people that you look up to and you're like, those are the cream of the crop. Like, I just want to be around them. And I say this a lot, but most of you spend time around people who talk about people. Stop.
Yeah, right.
Stop. Like when I was giving the examples of anti-network marketing people, I'm not thinking of a single human. I'm talking about a kind of person. Stop.
Yeah.
You know, like people who talk about events. Okay, like maybe we can hang out. But if you're somebody who's talking about ideas and vision and the future and how you're going to make your next $10 million and the charity you're going to give to the biggest toy drive on earth, or you know, you're going to give, you know, $1 million, you're going to raise $1 million for to stop sex trafficking. Like, like I want to hear about that. I want to be in
all day long.
I want to know about how are you changing this world we live in? Because you can sit around and complain about the people and the places and the things and the whatever all day long, but the complaining is doing nothing. The talking about it constantly is doing nothing. I want to be around the people who go, this sucks about the world. This sucks about the world. This sucks about the world. And I got this solution, this solution, this solution. I'm like, let me in your circle. That's
absolutely. All day long. It's like, all right, what are we doing to solve this problem locally here or that problem there? Okay, let's go. And it's so exciting. That's exactly it. That's what gets me up out of bed every day, is like the ability to change the world, even if it's small, even if it's one person at a time or a small group. It's like that. It's just something, you know, when you get to that level, it's absolutely amazing. That is so awesome. I know we're coming out of time here, and I know you've got a busy day. So What's next for Jessie Lee and I'm Boss Lee? Like, where do you see yourself going? Obviously, you talked about, coaching with Ed, who I love, and I just got his book, one more, and I'm like so into that, and it's awesome. So, what's
yeah, I'm looking for my notebook. So with one day, so like here's my first binder of ass whoopings by Ed Milet.
Oh my God.
I'm not even kidding though. In one day, I literally am sitting here like I got my $175,000 worth. And that might sound really crazy to some people, but I'm not even kidding. And then on top of that, like this is again, one day, I think I've got 20 full pages of notes, and each page is, 5 hours of training or something that I could do coaching on.
Oh, wow.
So what's next for me? It kind of scares me to even say that to answer that, because I really think that all the things that I think that I know is coming, and those are all check, sure, no doubt. It's like I hired a man who, as much as my number one strength, according to Gallup, is futurist, like I live way out there in the future. Like I'm taking everybody with me, like when I coach my accelerators and my platinums, I'm like, do you understand every single one of you is going to be a multimillionaire? Like I'm not here to play. Okay. Right. I'm in the future over here, and we're going to make you multimillionaires. So like get on the freaking success train.
Yeah.
I feel like I say that and Ed's just like, yeah, see, we're just going to do more. So, there's a lot, like I've written down goals for 2023. Of course, I've written down life things that I want to do for my life. I'm constantly living out in the future, and it's so easy for me to write down these ideas. Like, the crazy properties all over the world, whether it's mountain houses. I don't know why I want one. I just want one so I can sit in little snow bunny lodge and like take photos in the Alps, whatever. I want an island, I will have an island. I need to change my language. I'm going to have an island.
I like that.
Villas in Italy. I'm going to have homes in Greece. I'm going to have a gigantic black yacht. Like I can't wait. I don't know why it has to be black. It's how I see it. Right. For some reason, I don't know, like I'm getting really clear on stuff like that. So, it's like, I will hit the $100 million net worth this year. So I'm not far, but I have to have a little push and it'll be done. Right. So it's exciting, like check. That I'm really, really pumped about, but I've got so much more, there will be books, there will be all kinds of stuff. My big focus is for sure scaling the Boss Lee education program. So the accelerator, the platinum, and the masterminds, being on all the biggest stages in the world instead of just some of them. It's definitely coming. My name's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Love it.
Way. I love it, but it's impossible for me to answer that question, even though I just did.
No, I know.
I really want more people to know the limit just doesn't exist. You can come from the darkest of darkness, like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, right? You can come from these situations where you feel like there's no way of getting out. You can come from situations where you feel like you've been betrayed by everybody, or your life is set up as a series of failures and you don't understand what's going on. You can come from anything and you can become anything, but it has to start in your mind. And so everything is next for Boss Lee. I mean, everything. The world is mine. That's all. I love it. That's all.
Big thinking, not little thinking. I love that. And just what you said. I mean, I'm like, wow, holy crap. I'm like, I got to revise my stuff now, like go even bigger. I mean, that's it. And holy crap. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to make us like a slew of millionaires. Like I want everyone that even like DMs me on Instagram I want the conversation to start with, I get a lot of these, but I want more, it's like your coaching made me a millionaire. Oh, hell yeah. Like that's what I want to open up every day in every way, every platform, it's like millionaires, I want everybody to be as abundant and limitless as I am. That would just be the best.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. This was awesome. I mean, seriously, this was like 50 minutes and it just blew by. Wow. I just got inspired, and I know everybody else will too. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on here, and we'll get this out soon. So everybody, Jessie Lee Ward, I'm Boss Lee. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming on and actually answering my Instagram saying I'm on. I mean, I wasn't expecting it that quick.
I'm fast in my DM. So people sometimes are like, oh my gosh, like, look, can you not tell how fast my brain is? Like I can handle some DMs. Okay?
I love it. I love it. It's great. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Great. Was that not an epic interview? I know I say all my interviews are awesome and it's probably the best one, but by far, hands down, I truly believe this was the best one yet. Full of energy, no nonsense BS, the passion you could hear in Jessie's voice, and it truly was inspiring to learn of all the challenges that she struggled with growing up, with all the violence, and then moving to New York, not really sure of her path forward, and then basically by chance just Googling home-based businesses, and look what she did with her life now. Created a multi-million-dollar a year business. She's the #1 female networking marketer in the world, and now she's taking her business to the next level with a high net worth, and she's helping people grow their businesses. She's helping people get out of places that they're stuck in. And if you watch her, you truly see the passion every single day. And I feel like, again, I got a amazing coaching experience out of this too. I feel like I'm set on fire now. I feel like any excuse that I made out the window completely, because she brought it, challenged us on a lot of things to do better, and just, again, just truly amazing experience. So again, Jessie Lee, thank you so much. You didn't have to do this interview. I truly appreciate it, and that just shows a lot about who you are, your character, and the world needs more of you, and you truly are a gem in this world, Jessie. So thank you so much. Much love to you. We'll see you next time on the Career and Life Show, everybody. Take care.